Long before we decided who we were, stories were already shaping us. Stories about success, love, struggle, and what's possible. We absorb them from our family, our culture, and from our survival. Eventually, the stories feel like our truth. But inherited stories aren't always chosen stories. And sometimes clarity begins with a simple question. Is this something I know, or is this something I was taught? That distinction matters more than we think. Welcome. This is the Shift Your Perspective series, where we talk about viewing everyday life from a different perspective. Today's topic: the stories we inherit before we choose our own. Before we ever made a conscious choice, stories are always shaping us. Not all are loud, some are quiet ones. Stories told by our parents and family in quiet moments. Stories yelled to express the desperation in the message. Stories about what success looks like, what love costs, what's realistic, what's selfish, what's expected. We don't sit down and agree to them. We absorb them. Let's reflect on some stories we live by and are familiar with. I know a lot of people who would consider themselves workaholics. They work nonstop, always busy, always exhausted. From one perspective, it looks like dedication. From another, it looks like pressure. When they finally pause long enough to ask themselves, why do I do this? The answer surprises them. They weren't chasing success. They were not trying to disappoint a voice that sounded a lot like the one from their childhood. In their family, rest meant laziness. Ease meant irresponsibility. Struggle meant worth. No one ever said it directly, but the message was clear. So they kept going, long after the work stopped serving them. This is how inherited stories work. They don't announce themselves as beliefs. They show up as habits, as guilt, as the things we feel bad for wanting, or worse, for not wanting. Maybe yours sounds like this. People like us don't take risks. Money is hard to come by. If you love someone, you sacrifice yourself. Or how about don't stand out? Don't complain. And here's another. Be grateful for what you have, even when you're miserable. These stories don't come with evidence. They come with repetition. And repetition makes them feel true. Think about relationships. Some people grew up learning that love means endurance, staying no matter what. Others learned that love means distance, protecting yourself before someone can leave. Neither story is right or wrong. But when they go unexamined, these stories quietly choose partners, behaviors, and outcomes for us. We call it chemistry or fate. Often, it's comfort and what's familiar. How about the stories around money? Some people feel anxious spending money even when they're stable. Others feel reckless even when they're struggling. Both are responding to stories learned long before numbers were involved. Money isn't just currency, it's memory. The most powerful part of this isn't realizing that you inherited stories. It's realizing that you might still be living by them without ever choosing them. Clarity begins with a simple pause. Not to reject the story, not to judge where it came from, just to ask, is this something I believe now? Or something I learned back then? That question doesn't demand immediate change. It creates space. And in that space, choice becomes possible. You don't have to abandon your past to choose differently. You just have to notice which stories still deserve a space in the life you're living now. Some stories keep us safe, others keep us small. The work isn't to erase them, it's to decide which ones still belong. Let these words help to shift your perspective, and I'll see you in the next shift.